taboo subject that most Americans really just choose to ignore. Death is certain for all of us, but our national investigative team found few Americans do anything to confront it by planning ahead. Roughly 30% of Americans have a will, and even fewer realize just how complex and expensive it is to die. It's a silent subject, forcing families to navigate a clunky court process called probate while they grieve. Our national investigative reporter, Chris Nakamoto, explains.
This is a picture of my dad and his siblings, probably one of their last family pictures.
As Joe Miller gazes at old pictures of his father Terry, he reflects on moments that mattered as a kid growing up. These snapshots in time are now his most cherished memories.
I feel like that character shaped who we are.
On June 26, 2021, Terry Miller died of complications from a urinary tract infection at the age of 73.
We thought, okay, well, once we find the will, this can all be sorted out.
But despite having that will, everything his dad owned was off limits, as it took a long time to validate that document. 4 long years later, Miller's sadness over his dad's death swiftly spiraled into madness. Grief put on the back burner as his siblings continue to navigate a complex court process called probate. The family still can't access everything he owned. For example, Terry's home in Lebanon, Missouri, still tangled up in court proceedings.
We need to grieve properly, and we cannot grieve properly if these things are not worked out.
Laura Poche is an estate planning attorney in Louisiana.
When somebody dies, this is the way I explain it to my clients, it's almost as if an imaginary camera takes a picture of any property titled in the name of that person's name at the moment of death.
Unless you already have an estate plan, which includes a trust, our national investigative team found probate is required in all states in America upon death. In Louisiana, that same process is called a succession.
So if you own real estate, mineral interests, timeshares, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, CDs, U.S. savings bonds, checking and savings accounts, titled vehicles, LLCs, corporations, partnerships, all of these types of assets, these are what we call probate assets.
Poche says even if you have a will, those assets can't be released until probate is complete. That's because in recent years, scams have become prevalent. This woman, who we will call Jane, did not want her identity revealed over issues she discovered after her beloved mother-in-law, affectionately nicknamed Skeeter, passed away.
She loved her family, and my husband in particular, that was her baby boy.
Skeeter's death was no surprise last fall, living life to the ripe age of 100. But after her passing, everything Skeeter owned turned into a public record for everyone to see.
You know, just as we try to keep ourselves, our things private in our life, that it should not be public record in our death.
This is a recently filed probate document. We found it available online. It's a glaring example of what Jane is talking about and how much personal information is available. All things that could be useful to scammers for anyone to pull and see.
Now, you can be in China and you can, get on the computer and you can see every single probate.
Craig Parker is a trust and probate lawyer in California with over 20 years of experience. He believes the probate process needs an overhaul and would like to see Congress step in.
Most people, like you said, I would say the majority of people just have no idea until it happens to them.
For people like Miller and Jane, death taught them a life lesson.
Because the last thing your family needs to be doing is going through this crazy legal process instead of grieving your loss and grieving your death.
Chris Nakamoto reporting for us tonight. Turning back to our website.